Question number 9, in the name of Deputy Martin.
Right, this is in relation to the Young People's Facilities and Services Fund, and there has been a value for money and policy review, and there are people involved with young people who are wondering when that will be published and if there's going to be consultation with the stakeholders. And allied with that is the National Assessment Committee, which has not met in quite some time, and again the people involved with young people are anxious to have that monitoring committee meet again.
Thank you. Minister.
The value for money and policy review of the youth programmes that target young people at risk of disadvantage, including the Young People's Facilities and Services Fund, has been finalised. The review recommends changes to youth funding programmes to ensure evidence-based, effective, value for money services that secure the best outcomes for young people, particularly vulnerable young people. I intend that all stakeholders that provide services for young people will have the opportunity to discuss the review's findings and recommendations. My department has developed a detailed consultation plan which will be launched before Christmas, and indeed I've met with leaders in the area to assure them that they will have a consultation that will be meaningful in relation to the implementation of the findings of the report. So the consultation with stakeholders will take place in the context of the National Youth Strategy, which is being developed by my department. This strategy will have a particular focus on young people that are vulnerable and need additional supports. The intention is to work collaboratively with young service interests, including national youth organisations and Education and Training Board youth officers, to see how the review's recommendations will be implemented over the next 2 years in the context of the National Youth Strategy. The National Youth Council of Ireland, the City of Dublin Youth Service Board and the community and voluntary representatives that have served on the National Assessment Committee will have an important role in this process.
Deputy O'Sullivan.
I have a particular interest in Young People's Facilities and Services Fund because when it was set up originally back in the late 90s, I chaired the group, the development group for the North Inner City. So I was very aware, the extent of the consultation that went on at that stage and the great work that it has done. And we know that it's targeting areas where young people are most at risk of drugs. Now we know we can say that every community, every village, every town is at risk of drugs, but we know that there are some areas that are particularly vulnerable, and I represent some of those areas. So it was a fund that was addressing these issues. I think it's gone off the boil recently, so it's really important that we get an impetus back to this. I mean, just this week, 2 young people died in the inner city from this new drug called ice. So that is the reality, again, of what's happening on the ground. And it's so important that we keep an eye on who this is targeted towards. So it's good that the review is going to come before Christmas, and that the consultation will start very quickly. But I'd also ask that you really listen to those who are the frontline workers working with these young people in those areas.
Thank you. Minister.
Well, absolutely. The department is committed to this consultation process. You've alluded to the monitoring group. I may certainly look to see when that will be meeting again. And I'd just like to inform the Deputy and the House that arrangements are being made by my department to publish the value for money review in the coming weeks and to convene a meeting of the National Assessment Committee promptly thereafter.
I hope that the key word is promptly, because I certainly had this question with your predecessor about when the National Assessment Committee would be meeting, and it was really kind of kicked into touch. It was almost as if it wasn't necessary because the funding had been set up. But the National Assessment Committee is keeping an eye on what your report is doing, which is ensuring that the money, the funding, the services, the facilities are going to those most at risk, and ensuring also that it is this value for money and that it is going to be evidence-based. So it's really important that the National Assessment Committee, that you're committed to it meeting more regularly. I mean, it's quite some time since it has met, and in the meantime the services and facilities were going on, but the committee wanted to meet to ensure that they were going towards those areas that were most at risk.
Thank you, Deputy.
Well, again, just to thank the Deputy for her comments. I certainly agree that the National Assessment Committee should meet on a regular basis. I've made the point in earlier questions that we're very concerned across government, and I'm very concerned in my own department that we have evidence-based policies and that the money that we spend is delivering the outcomes that we desire, better outcomes for children. There have been various reports across various different agencies where there are suggestions that things could be done differently in a more effective fashion, and I think we need to address those issues. Some of them may be real and some of them may be imagined, but I think unless we've got hard evidence and objective evidence, we can't make those calls. And in fairness, everybody working in the sector, they're all seeking to improve outcomes for young people. And as I said at the outset in my first answer, I'll finish the same, just to express my gratitude on behalf of myself and the Government and the Department of Youth Affairs and Children for the fantastic volunteerism that there is in this sector.
Thank you.